Hi there, welcome back to another episode. I'm not doing a video essay this week, you'll get one of those next week. This week I'm doing something slightly different. I'm calling it Movies That You May Have Missed, which is kind of like reviewing smaller films which you might not have seen because they didn't really get a wide release at the cinema, but I do think you should watch anyway. And I'm starting the series with 99 Homes. So 99 Homes tells the story of Andrew Garfield's everyday, everyman construction worker who loses his home due to financial difficulties, and Michael Shannon plays the antagonist of the film, who is the person that comes in to repossess your home. I've boiled the plot down to just that, and that's because the plot really isn't anything complicated. It is the depiction of the characters and moral ambiguity which this film really excels in, and I'll get more into that when I talk about the writing. Starting from a visual perspective, I think the filmmaking throughout this film is really good. It's got an incredibly good visual pace. I really enjoyed the use of shorter lenses for close-ups on Andrew Garfield. I think that was a great choice because I do think he has a very expressive face. He's very good with his facial acting, and it's highlighted throughout this film with the use of shorter lenses. In addition to that, I do enjoy the framing of Michael Shannon as nearly always being a superior position within the frame. I think it highlights the type of effect his character has on the people around him. He's imposing, he's often the person in charge, and he's often the person that influences everyone else, and that's highlighted through the visual filmmaking very well. The editing throughout this film is kept to a very quick pace, and that helps to keep the film flowing, even though the subject matter is at times something that most people aren't going to be that interested in. Housing market situations isn't something that everybody's interested in, but they managed to keep the pace going really well by using a variety of editing techniques. What else can I say about the visual filmmaking? In general, the film is an incredibly well crafted film, something that surprised me because I checked out this director's other credits after watching this, and the rest of his filmography it's not that great. But this is a real diamond in the rough in my opinion. From an audio perspective, I think it has a very good score. Without being intrusive, it manages to hold the same pace as the visuals and the editing, whilst at the same time highlighting scenes of tension. And really, from the opening 10 to 15 minutes, you'll notice the score. It manages to keep a very tense atmosphere throughout, but it also knows when to ease up and let the viewer relax and give them a minute to catch up. From a performances perspective, I think Andrew Garfield is great. I like Andrew Garfield. He gets a lot of shit for the Amazing Spider-Man series, and there's elements of that performance which I don't agree with either, but in general, I think he's a great actor. I think he's got a lot of talent, and I think he's given a lot of room to run here. He's got a great character arc. He starts as someone who is very well-meaning, very innocent, hard-working, and by the end of the film turns into a character who's not too dissimilar from Michael Shannon's, in that he starts to bend the rules to get ahead in life, and I think he manages to portray that character arc really well with a subtle range of acting. Same goes for Michael Shannon. He plays a villainous character so well, and he's such a good antagonist in this film. In the beginning, it's very easy to hate him because of what he does and how he acts, but as the film goes on, we get a picture of how he became that way, and it starts to make him more relatable, and Michael Shannon manages to portray that relatable history really, really well. I think he brings a lot of depth to this character that might not have come through on the page. The supporting characters, unfortunately, are kind of given a back seat after the first 10 to 15 minutes, especially the first act is really, it utilizes the supporting characters to sell Andrew Garfield's character, and then as the film goes on, they kind of take a back seat, which is a bit unfortunate because they all give really good performances, but I can't really criticize it too much because the film works so well. Finally, we come to the writing, which I think is this film's strongest attribute by far. There's no black and white in this film. The film really is about how life itself is a massive palette of grey. It isn't black and white. It isn't easy to disseminate what is right from wrong, or what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And it really paints a picture of how context can really determine whether something is right or wrong. A couple of good examples is that you would never really agree with what Michael Shannon does, which is he turfs people out of their homes to make a profit. And from his character's perspective, that's perfectly fine. He's already wealthy, he doesn't really need to do this, so when he does it, it's easy to disagree with him. But when he gives Andrew Garfield a taste of this sort of lifestyle and shows him how easy it is to make money from other people's misery, and Andrew Garfield's motivation is really about trying to provide a home for his family, which he's just lost. So it suddenly becomes a lot more relatable and understandable as to why someone would do those things when the circumstances behind it, the context behind it, is that you're trying to save your family. So all of a sudden that moral ambiguity becomes something which is a bit more interesting and a bit more nuanced and gradient, as opposed to being black and white. It's wrong to turf people out of their homes, but is it still wrong when you're turfing them out of your home so that your son can have somewhere to grow up and he's not growing up on the street? This film does a really great job of selling all those aspects, and it's done in such a gradual and nuanced fashion that by the time you get to the end of the film, you don't even really disagree with what Garfield's doing anymore. You kind of agree with him because you understand the context behind the actions, and that's something this film exemplifies perfect. The plot itself is nothing spectacular. It is pretty much a story of how an innocent person becomes corrupted by an unjust system, and it makes it very relatable and easy to understand. But at the same time, there's no twists and turns that you're going to be guessing. It's not going to keep you on your toes in terms of the plot. It really is a film about characters and the journey of those characters. The plot isn't really all that necessary. It's not all that important. Overall, I would say that this film is an unmissable film. For me, the craft behind the filmmaking, the excellence with which the brilliant script is executed throughout the film, coupled with great performances from everybody, and a truly great piece of writing of moral ambiguity, means that this film is unmissable in my opinion. If you are a person who enjoys good filmmaking, good writing, good acting, this has everything for you, and it really is a great piece of filmmaking, and it's one that I am recommended to you as the very first film in my Movies You May Have Missed series. So if you have missed this film and you haven't seen 99 Homes, you can either pick it up at many places. It's on sale online everywhere. If you have an Amazon account, it is available to stream on Amazon. It's not on Netflix, unfortunately, but you can find it on Amazon. It's not that expensive. I think it's about $3, and it's well worth the $3. If you've got $3 to spare, it's worth spending it on this film. Go out there and watch it, and then come back to this video and tell me what you thought of the film in the comments. Or if you've already seen it, then tell me what you think anyway. I'm interested to hear if you had as high of an opinion as I did. That's it for this episode. I do need to say that there is only a week now until I do a Halloween special episode. So if you want me to answer your questions live on air, I'm doing a Q&A session on my next video. It's going to be quite a big one because it's an anniversary episode. So if you've got any questions you want me to answer, regardless of what it is, you can ask any question. I will answer it. No question is taboo. Can't say that my answers will be interesting, but I will answer every single question just as fervently as I do try and answer the comment section of my videos. Another thing, if you have commented on a video and I haven't replied, please don't take it personally. I've had so many comments over the last 3 weeks that I've found it difficult to keep up with them all. I've tried to answer as many as I possibly could, but some of them may have slipped through the net, so for that I'm sorry. That's it for this episode, and I will catch you next week on the anniversary / Halloween episode. Thanks very much for your time.